Hi guys, Tech here, and I wanted to go over explosive arrow ballistas as an elementalist. Kind of my thoughts after playtesting it. Talk about something I definitely did that made it feel better, but it's probably not the call. And kind of go over why I most likely will not be playing this, but I will share like this POV. It will need to be updated, but I will share what I have been working with in case this is something you're interested in. Um, I can answer some base questions on this and kind of go through some follies. But I do want to be very clear this is going to be a 3.16 uh, POV. So it won't be like a full, this isn't going to be like a full build guide video or anything like that I will be doing for the other builds, but this was one of my finalists that I was kind of excited about, and I wanted to go over, thoughts regarding that. Before I get into like all the details and everything like that, if you would be so kind, is like, comment, and subscribe. It does really help the channel grow, and I do genuinely appreciate it. As far as the what I did wrong, so I was originally playing this with the gem, the green, it's the focus, Ballista focus support. And while it felt really good because then I had to frenzy to get them to shoot, I quickly realized that that is probably not the call when we are not sure about boss interactions. They are much slower this way, and I do have them scaling much more off of the actual damage over time than what I was originally doing. I will say the gearing kind of makes me worried a little bit as far as a league starter is concerned, simply because you really want Holmes' heart and you really want some of the ignite stuff as far as gearing is concerned, which is all gated behind high levels. So the pros, this is a very big pro, the clear speed is amazing. The clear speed is absolutely amazing. A lot of the gearing is going to be like day 3, day 4 gearing for most players. Some players will be able to push and get day 1 and 2 pieces, but I do want to be very transparent. Soft's bow is probably really strong for this build, so you need to get the first version and then bless it to get that, and then get it 6 link. So that is cause for concern. You really want a Comb's Heart, and even running Comb's Heart, Grace, Determination, and Defiance banner, it still didn't feel like enough defenses to me. That's another cause for concern. So I think this one it's definitely going to be very popular among a specific group of people. I think it's very strong. It's just not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's a little more forgiving in terms of mistakes than this is. I do want to kind of showcase like what it's like in a tier 10 map with this gear. This is actually really good gear. Some of the gems are going to be a little under leveled, but overall it should be fine because I am running a level 21 explosive arrow in this on the totem, and you'll see that the majority of the map is very smooth. The boss does get a little bit questionable, and that's the part that concerns me about this build still, is gearing and just not having that in this guy. This guy also kind of worries me about the build, because this is with, for the most part, level appropriate gems. The things that are not level appropriate are things like life tap that aren't the biggest deal in the world. The amount, like you'll see, like the hits are like big. And I don't know what modifiers are on this map because it's just a blue map. But it does worry me that he took so long and he chunked me that much. Especially when we're talking about Archnemesis League, which is probably going to have spicier rares than that. You're going to deal with every single map. Every single map, you're probably going to be dealing with tougher rares than that guy. So that's a little bit of cause for concern regarding this build. The other thing is, like, the level of gear that's on this character is pretty ridiculous, because I took it from a previous Burning Arrow character I had that had really good gear, and then just added the Comb's Heart to the mix to give it a little more life. Maybe it's just a matter of the life pool isn't big enough. I'm not sure. I can't pinpoint exactly what it is that isn't meeting my standards as far as a viable boss killing lead starter is concerned. But there's definitely some defensive stuff that isn't meeting my standards. The other part of it is I'm not sure damage wise if this is exactly where I want to be either. Absolution feels like it's far more damage right now. Now, again, I'm testing without the buff gem. So this is like pseudoscience, but it's, if it feels good without the buff gems, it's going to feel really good with the buff gems, is kind of my logic. And if it doesn't feel good without the buff gems, it's not going to feel as good with the buff gems. Now, I could be wrong. The buffs could be significant enough to overcome that. However, I do have concerns. And because I have concerns, I most likely won't be league starting this one, which is why I will put the 3.16 POB with essentially where I'm at with this character. And I'll link it in the video, because I'm probably not going to go much further with this build than what I've already tested. The other thing I will say is, if you don't run a mana flask, I brought a mana flask just in case on this one. With this setup, you don't need a mana flask, so I could have another defensive flask, which may help that feeling of this is hot garbage. It may help with that. And I think having the Poacher's mark on hit socketed somewhere will also greatly help with this build specifically, because it gives you well, one of the marks. I'm not sure even if you go Poachers, you might even go Warlords, or you could possibly even go like Assassin's Mark just to get the power charges, to get the crit up a little bit more for EO consideration. So that's something as well. I will say it does feel like you really can't take a hit very well. And I know this is dot damage, and this is like a hard boss, but I wanted to do like a hard mapping boss, because I figure if it excels here, it's probably going to excel on the other areas. And it did okay, like the damage is fine. For the most part, it didn't like one-shot him or anything. The damage is fine for the most part, but it's not quite what I'm looking for. I will say the clear speed though is very, very good. So if you start this, and it's going to be a rough start too. I didn't talk about that part. It's going to be kind of a rough start because you're basically going to have to play something else for the majority of the game. It's totem based. And, well, not the majority, but for the first like 40-ish levels, if not more, you're gonna have to play basically a completely different build. Now, because of the nodes that we're getting, it should work out pretty well. But there's definitely some caveats with this build. I wouldn't suggest this for new players. I would say if you're under like 400 or 500 hours, this might not be the build for you. It might be just a little bit too much complexity to making it work, and as far as knowing how to get all the different carrying pieces to make it where it does really good damage might be a little difficult, because it's essentially an ignite build. It's an ignite shock build, but you're actually scaling the ignite. With that being said, there is some merits to this, where even if it's not a good bosser, it's a really good mapper. It's a really solid mapper. So worst case scenario, even if this isn't the bosser that I had in mind, it's really solid for just Atlas progression. Like, it's going to be very good for that. It will be faster than Absolution for sure. I would put this kind of same speed wise as like Bladefall Blade Blast. This is more of a one button playstyle for the most part, but you do have 2 button presses that you need to keep up, so you need to manage your frenzy charges as well. But for the most part, it's more of a one button playstyle than like Bladefall Blade Blast would be, and it's probably very similar speed wise. The thing that hurts this speed wise is that you have to place the totems, and totems take a little bit to place, not too long, but a little bit to place. So it does kind of affect the clear speed, but it's pretty solid. The other thing is that because of this, the way this layout works, this is kind of the worst case scenario as far as like clear speed is concerned. You want kind of wide open, not ramps, not divots, not going back and forth. You want kind of wide open, and the clear speed significantly better. So the 2 I tested are kind of worst case scenario places for the build, which is actually good because it functions very well in worst case environments. I'll put the link down to the 3.16 POB. I can answer basic questions on this. I probably can't answer the really high-end stuff. For that, you may want to find someone that is playing it once 3.17 build guides come out, just to get the best possible experience. But I'll give you basically my findings from my testing, and what I kind of mathematically worked out would be pretty good. I hope this is helpful. And then if you didn't see the Absolution video, I will put a card up for it, because it also has the giveaway details on it. In case you were looking for that, I did make a small giveaway announcement. This isn't the big one yet. I'm going to do that hopefully in the next day or 2. But anyway, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and have a great day, Exiles.